My name's Ryan Guettler, 28 years old, sponsored by Advanced Shoes, Monster Energy, Protect helmets, Colony bikes, and Ethica underwear. The way the crash happened was TJ Ellis, he just showed up to the jam. It was down at my local trails. It was a jam we were putting on a fundraiser. And TJ showed up and I was like, hey, we're jumping KOD as the set. And it's 2 jumps in a row. So I was like, I'll just train you. He's like, let's go. Our gearing must be so different because I remember pedaling fast and he was so close to me, like I could have overtook him, but I just stayed behind him. But then with maybe 10 feet away from the jump, he put in some real hard pedals to get going. I was already going slow and I was already like had the mindset of I'm just gonna have to go slow and push over this jump instead of going up high. So he gains his speed and then he pushes up high and I start pushing through low. As soon as we land on the first jump, I'm right behind him. So when he goes up the second jump, I have to go over to the right. I just got to get away from him. And my handlebars turned and hit me straight in the kidney and I flipped over and hit my head and I got knocked out. So we left the trails, I came home and that's when I was like talking myself out of it and I just could not get comfortable. And then my team manager came over and he was like, hey, I haven't seen you this pale in a while, just go to the hospital and get yourself checked out. After the surgery, just laying there in hospital and I'm about to get like taken home and able to go home and eat my own food and stuff. I asked the doctor, I was like, yo, how long is this recovery? And he's like, 3 months. And I instantly was like, 3 months, no way, that's out of the question. Like I can't take that much time off my bike, I'll never recover. This is like coming into summer now and I've already missed out on some contests. Yeah. And I've got some real major ones that if I, like it's hard to explain. If I don't go in these contests and do well, I won't get into like invites for the up and coming contest for the rest of the year. Like,
that's the other part, is that I can recommend to you not to do this stuff and say that, you know, there's always a possibility, just because I would consider a contact sport. Not that it's like football or soccer or hockey or something like that, but just from exactly what happened, you take a nasty spill on a jump or hit your handlebars again or something like that, you have a high propensity to re-injure what was already injured.
Yeah.
When they looked inside, they thought there's injury to the pancreas. They didn't really see it when they looked at it, just on the CAT scan. And then there was some injury to the spleen, which was taken out. Yeah. And then on that left side, that same side that the spleen is on, there was injury to that kidney.
Okay.
So my recommendation is that it would be dangerous to do this again because you would have the chance to rebleed. So anytime we see something like this, we recommend 3 months. You're the boss, you know, ultimately. So
I pretty much have a month until there's one major contest that I'll be riding in no matter what. So I think from now to then, I'm going to probably like take it easy for another week, and then I'm going to just get back to the gym and try and do stuff where I don't use my abs. But I've pretty much got like another week of rest until I'm going to start getting back into it. Pretty much we talked them into 6 weeks. So like 6 weeks is the danger zone. Once you get over that and your scar's healed enough and your insides are probably sealed up, you can start riding. So that was like awesome news. That's like the best news ever. So next Tuesday I go to Guam for a Vans demo and signing. So I'm not going to take my bike, I'm just going to go do the autograph signing part of it. And once I get it together, I'll just go to Woodward and get all my confidence back. And then my first big contest is Red Bull in Mexico. I feel a little bit of pressure from sponsors about like showing up to an important contest and trying to like represent it. I got to come back and I got to produce like straight away. There's no way I can show up to the first contest of the year after an injury and not make finals. Like, you know, I feel like I just got to go in it and my whole mentality's always been first or last, and I got to take it to the first one, which is kind of, I don't know if that's me putting more pressure on myself, or actually thinking that it's my sponsors. I'm even feeling it right now. Like, everybody knows like I just lost my spleen and stuff, but every single day my phone, I'm getting a text or an email like, hey, when do you think you can ride? As soon as you're ready, here's a jam. You want to go to this? You want to go to this contest? Like, just already like working out my schedule when I'm sitting on the couch, like no chance of even riding anytime soon. I guess the only thing that really changed over the years from my mentality then to now is just understanding the consequences. I think when a kid is young and he's just learning to ride and he's getting tricks going and he's landing stuff, he doesn't understand being knocked out. He doesn't understand taking 2 months off your bike and sitting on the couch and doing absolutely nothing. You're just like full throttle, pinned. You don't care, you don't understand the consequences, but now I do. It was actually my first year in America, was my first serious injury. And that was one of the first moments that I was like, honestly, like, yo, I could die right now. Like, this is crazy if I don't get to an ambulance. I went to Jamie Bestwick's free flow contest, and I qualified first going into the finals. And then in the practice in between qualifying and finals, I did a flip no-hander and messed my hand. And it's been one of the craziest crashes I've ever had. In one crash, broke my jaw on both sides, 13 stitches in my chin, broke my nose, broke my eye socket, 4 stitches in my head, and I was bleeding out both ears. So when I woke up, and I knocked out my 9 front teeth. So these front 9 are fake. So I wake up and there's people like picking up my teeth and run my tongue across the top of my teeth and feel like how crazy all chipped up they are. And I instantly just start bawling my eyes out. And then Jamie takes his hand away for a split second. So I just feel like I'm wiping away water, and I look at it and it's the most darkest red blood. And I feel like it just running out my ears. I got an older brother and we're mad competitive. And one day we were waiting for the bus out the front of the house. I don't know what for. I'd go to school or something. And we were throwing rocks at the neighbor's mailbox, and it's real far down the street. So if you hit it, it's like good. And we end up just like being competitive and getting bigger rock. And I pretty much got a brick, and I threw it. And my arm just kept going, like it just popped out of socket, and it kept going. I just never went to the hospital and got it fixed. I was a little kid. I just was like, I got a sore shoulder for a week. And then in 2010, I finally did my left one. I crashed in Chicago, and it blew out. And then both my shoulders were pretty much done. They would go out left and right every time I rode. And it started getting so unsafe that 2 years ago, I got double shoulder surgery. My left one was the worst. It was 3rd degree separated. They said whatever could be bad with his shoulder, I had it. It was all torn ligaments, like instead of it being round and there's your shoulder all snug, mine was like oval and all loose. And then if I landed a certain way and it went past that oval, it would just like pop out and then come straight back in. It just got to the point where I'd be like mid-trick, X up, like just cross my arms, and for some reason this one would just pop out and then it would come straight back in, so I'd land, but then I'd have a sore arm for like a week. And it was just ongoing over and over and over. The way the fitness behind BMX and eating healthy and stuff kind of just all came from my brother. Watching him growing up, he was already in the gym when he was like 13, 14, and to me that was like crazy. I'd never even think about going to the gym when I was that young. I just wanted to ride and just hang out with my friends after school. All the goals he sets for himself, he ends up like getting to and whatnot, and just like, for me, I was like, man, if I had that mindset and riding it might actually help out. And everything I do relates back to BMX, so all the spinning that I do, a lot of like 720s and 1080s take a lot of effort, especially in my core. So I love to do just like a lot of core work, and it's definitely got easier. Like I remember when 720s used to be like a real effort for me to get around, and then now 1080s, like I'm spinning them quicker and quicker the more work I do, I guess. I feel like the best way to prevent injuries is actually crashing on a more of a daily basis. Like I feel like the days where I've crashed 20 times are the days I've progressed the most, realize I'm not made of glass, realize I can take a good beating and get up and keep riding, and they're the ones that make me stronger, make my mentality stronger and stuff like that. So it's actually good to have a good crash every now and then. Just be limble about it, like just like go with the impact, roll. Don't just stiffen up and freak out and stay stiff, because they're the ones that'll just, like, if there's nowhere to go, it'll just pop out. So that sucks. So every time if I know I'm gonna crash, I always just try and tuck and roll and get away from it somehow. The first thing you gotta understand is like the love for the sport. If you get on a bike and it feels like freedom and it just, everything clicks and makes sense in your head, then like follow it and like see where it takes you and whatnot. If you're trying to be like, hey, I'm gonna ride with my friends so I can like get on TV and make money and I don't have to work, I'm gonna buy a house, you're getting into it for the wrong reasons, and when you go through a crash, you won't understand. Like you'll give up way much more sooner than somebody that just has nothing but passion for the sport. Just have fun, don't take anything for granted, and just adapt to every situation. I feel like when I'm at a contest, the people who adapt the quickest are the ones that always seem to do good. They're enjoying it and they succeed in it, and I feel like that's everything with BMX, is just adapting. So like every time I go to a new spot, it's always about adapting. Like just the whole life in general, I guess. It sounds weird, but I'm always like, everything changes so quickly, especially in BMX and your runs and learning tricks. And I even feel like in life in general, like we get so 180s, like losing a sponsor, deal with it, like figure it out. And I feel like my whole career is just like, you never know what's going to happen like the next day or around the corner. You never know what's going on, so it's just like going with the flow, I guess, rolling with the punches.